Welcome to the Real Casual Podcast.
There's someone in the credits who's like titled as like jiggle physics artist or like ball Link senior Link ball jiggle.
Go on.
Okay. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Jules.
Hello, I'm Jessy.
This is Real Casual, and today we're doing Tears of the Kingdom. And today we have our very special friend, one of our best mates,
Ryan Penny.
Ryan Penny.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. I've been watching Evo recently.
Oh, nice.
So that's like the Olympics of fighting games. Everyone
hell
goes to
yeah.
Las Vegas, plays every single fighting game on the sun, so like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat,
Oh my god.
and just basically plays to win lots of money. I think
How much money?
I think Street Fighter is like 500,000. So yeah, I was watching.
US.
Yeah,
Huge.
That's crazy.
people come all from over the world. So there's people from Japan and Mexico and stuff coming in.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
Sick. Evo. I didn't even know about that.
it starts
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. Australian time and goes.
And you've
until-
been watching it
yeah,
live?
It goes for 3 days. So this is the second day. They're in. Yesterday was the pool, so all the people who are really bad at the game get kicked out, and then the pros rise up and take the top spots.
That is insane. $500,000.
Huge.
There's another tournament happening later called the Capcom Cup, and that prize is $1 million.
Capcom Cup.
Yeah. So
And
that's
is
only
that
Street
the same
Fighter.
game? Okay, Street
Yeah,
Fighter.
yeah. So Evo's like everything, every single fighting game.
Huge.
Like
Yeah.
Tekken?
Yes.
Good. That's
Let's
the only one I
run
know.
back for a second. Okay, so you guys know each other. We're all mates.
Yes, Ryan and I used to work together
Mm.
at Chaos Theory Games for about
Yes.
4 years together. Ryan is a producer
Mm.
and killing it.
Killing it.
Killing it,
He's one of our
man.
best mates. We played a lot of games together. We're again one of those people that just like we love catching up and just chatting games about everything.
Ryan's like an encyclopedia of game knowledge.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
played every game under the sun.
All of them.
But today we've got you here to talk about Zelda.
Yeah, we got Tears of the Kingdom today, as you probably read. We're so keen. Jessy and I just finished it. It was amazing. He's partway
Yeah,
through the
I'm
game.
tell us where you're
I'm trying
about.
to complete it 100%. So I'm going
Yeah.
very slow and
Like
methodical.
Koroks and all.
Yes.
That is fucked up.
100% right here.
Yeah, I didn't do that with Breath of the Wild, but this one I really want to.
That's
I'm really
kinda
compelled to do it.
terrifying.
Yeah, it is terrifying, but
That's like 250 hours or something, I think.
I find we can talk more about it, but I feel like the completionist path in this game is better
Yeah.
than Breath of the Wild because
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like you ultimately get more rewarded
Yes.
from doing everything in this game.
I did find myself really wanting to get all the outfits,
Oh, yeah.
especially with
Definitely
the
do.
like you pick up the maps in the sky and then you go down underground. It's like go find this outfit.
We're going to go deep into this. I just want
I
to,
love
before we
it.
get too far in, we're going to also introduce one of our best friends, our producer as well, Ethan Hatton Warren, my boy.
Full name.
Look him up.
His
Look him
government name.
Up. His ABN is. Yeah, we've got a camera on him today, so we're very privileged to be.
Finally, am I
Yeah, You
right?
can see his beautiful face.
Welcome, Ethan.
So yeah, welcome, brother.
Have you played Zelda before?
No, I don't have a Switch.
Yeah, I didn't
Aw.
think so.
I've been watching my housemate play Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
there you
Breath of the
go.
Wild or Tears
on
of the
you.
Kingdom?
Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're a little outdated.
Okay, but that's all right. You know what?
We'll catch you up.
Yeah, let's do this. So this is all for Ethan. Let's go.
Okay,
Nice.
So when you started, let's go through the Zelda history. Like, what is your, where are you sitting with the Zelda
What's the
verse?
first Zelda game
What's
you
your
played?
experience?
I had a really strange. My first Zelda game was Majora's Mask.
Haven't played it.
I
was
never.
that the second one to Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, so they made Ocarina of Time and then immediately made Majora's Mask right after with the same assets and the same engine and stuff.
Oh, so
And
it's-
is that
it's
the
like a
one that
Tears of the
everyone
Ki-
hates, or is that the
It's
one
the
that
def-
everyone loves?
It's the decisive one because
Right.
it changes the formula so
Yeah.
much. It's
Yeah.
the one that people kind of refer as the weird game because it's
Okay.
really spooky
and what's
dark.
the premise?
The premise is that Link has died,
Classic.
and kind of, and like he's in like an alternate version of Hyrule,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to try and save the world in 3 days. And so you've got to play through the game with the goal of trying to finish all the quests in
And
one
is
go.
that like a few hours
yeah,
of game time? Yes,
you
I've
have
heard
to.
of
You are,
this.
you are forced to play through
Yeah.
and try to get all the things
yes,
done.
yes. And you can sort of upgrade yourself as you go along. right?
Yeah, and so instead of having
time
like
you die.
items, he has masks that he puts on that
Cool.
turns him into the creatures from the Zelda universe. So he puts on
Did
like a
bokoblins exist back then?
I'm not so sure, but I know he had a mask that was like a tree mask and it turned him into like a Korok
Nice.
like creature that shot out
So
coconut.
Koroks exist.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Mm.
Jules, what was your first Zelda?
Well, we played the one before. I think Ocarina of Time.
I played the one that was on the 3DS.
Ocarina of Time was on the 3DS.
Yeah, I
Like they
think it was on
ported they ported it to
That's
the 3DS.
the one I played.
And I was just like
so
trying to
weird.
speed run it. I was doing all the backflips, and it was a really interesting game. They had like the home base of Hyrule, and you can go in like the directions, but it was way more linear, obviously.
Yeah.
You could only unlock areas after doing certain.
It was
things.
very like, go here, boss battle, get this item, go
It was
home.
to other video games. To me, it felt a lot more vague and a lot more like you have to figure out like a riddle, and then like you go do that thing. But with my experience of all the Zelda games, I didn't have a GameCube, I didn't have any
Yeah.
Nintendo. Like I was just PlayStation growing up, so it was all through friends. It was actually quite scary growing up watching and playing the Zelda games. Honestly,
They are kind of
yeah.
scary.
When you see the skeletons and when it's all like those polygon pixelated things, and the
really-
music
At
is
nighttime.
very eerie as well.
In Ocarina of Time, I really hated when you go into the future. I really hated the skeleton things that like were dead people that would
Yeah.
grab onto
So
you. and you-
creepy.
Yeah.
I just remember running around flying with the cuckoos.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
That was
a staple.
That's
That,
about as far as I got.
but yeah, so yeah.
I was gonna say, have you guys played any of the handheld ones, like the 2D ones, like the really classic ones?
I might have played it. I think I played one of the OGs on like an emulator, but
Yeah.
didn't get very far.
I did that too. Like
Yeah.
I didn't really have them on my Game Boy, but I played them years later on a ROM on my computer, and they're interesting because I heard that when they made Breath of the Wild, they specifically went out of the way to prototype all the features.
in 2D. I
Yeah.
saw that to make sure it was fun.
Yeah,
which is
'cause
so cool.
Their vision was kind of they didn't want to make, even though they're moving Zelda in a new direction, they didn't want it to feel like it was going against the things that made Zelda good in the first place, and so
Yes.
they wanted to ensure that even in this new version of Zelda, the same principles still continued on in the old form.
Yes, so they would do things like in 2D, you'd be next to a tree and you could chop it down and it would fall into the water and then you could like use it as something you could
basically.
walk on.
They wanted to make sure any mechanic that was in Breath of the Wild worked in like a simpler format before they put it into a more complicated game, basically.
Very,
That's just
cool.
going over my head a bit. Just can you run that back again?
Okay, so like imagine Pokemon format, like top down.
Yes.
You're standing next to a tree. It's functioning as a tree. You can't walk through it or anything.
Yes.
You chop it down, it becomes a log,
Yes.
like it would in Breath of the Wild. Falls into the water, you can now use it as a bridge.
Yeah.
The team basically decided, like early on in development, they wanted to make sure anything that was in Breath of the Wild could work in like that type of game as well.
Interesting.
So they made like another version of the game that was just that.
To make sure
Right.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Basically, before they went full, let's move to the 3D engine, let's move here, let's make sure we've got something good
Yeah.
and
It feels like such a
make it
departure
quick and
from
easy.
other like Zelda games.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Because the open world part obviously changes everything about how they've balanced and done
Yeah.
games in the past.
So obviously, we're all not experts
Yeah.
on Zelda here.
But we're having fun.
But
with
I
it.
would like to say I'm an expert of Breath of the Wild. It's like one of my favorite games
Came
of all
out in
time.
2017.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
When the Switch came out, it feels like
Yeah.
so long ago, right? Were you someone that like played it through, finished it, got all the hearts, everything? Like, were you one
I
of those?
really delayed finishing it because I was just
Okay.
so stuck on trying to do everything. But at a certain point, I was kind of like, I just need to go beat Ganon.
Yeah.
And so I just did it. But
Yes.
at the point I did though, I realized I was overkilling
Yes.
everything. So I
I have
overdid
to-
my killing of
yeah.
Ganon. by the
I
time
have to
did it.
say,
Yeah.
that's I think what we found. We thought there were harder battles, and then you get to Ganon at the end of Breath of the Wild, and it was kind of like underwhelming.
What do you call them? Like the goblins of like the fear, like losing all your items, or you never use them until the end. It's
Mind
kind
goblins.
Mind golems.
Yeah, can you explain that for the people at home? Like, just
I have this-
you've introduced me to this term that it's just like sticking with me. So.
I have this stupid concept called mind goblins. It's basically just OCD that like, oh, I don't want to use the potion yet because I might need to use it later on.
Yes.
Or I don't want to use this weapon because I might need to use it on a boss later down the
100%.
track.
100%.
And
I
like,
feel like Jules definitely had that in this game. I'd be like, we're fighting like one of the hardest things in the game. Just use the good sword. And he's
but
like,
no, but you don't know what's going to happen later. And then
Just
you're
make another
you
one.
Never know.
That's the whole point of this game is you can just like pick up shit, make a really good sword. Just
Tears
use
of the
good
Kingdom helped
ones.
with that.
Yeah.
In Breath of the Wild, though,
Yeah.
because I felt like it was a new game and I didn't understand how a lot of it worked, it wasn't a good time because I was basically using
Yeah.
the weakest weapon on the hardest boss for no
Yes,
reason.
So true.
But the beautiful thing about these games is it's organic and you learn these things naturally, and then like you just figure it out in yourself. And also going into the next game, it made it so much more fun because we understood the mechanics so well
Yeah.
already. We can go in and just be like, okay, I know it's going to be like a depleting weapon.
Yeah.
I know I can defeat this boss. I'm going to get we understand the system of like gratification in this game a lot more than we did before, and I think that's going into
This game very much is a sequel. And I feel and I feel like if you didn't enjoy Breath of the Wild, you wouldn't enjoy this game either.
And I think they used like the knowledge that they feel like we had from the first game so well in coming into this new game. They know that we like kind of know the map. They didn't make the towers as hard as they did in the first one because it's like we already did them, and they just let you kind of unlock those. And then they really built on the engine that they had established in the first game, like the chemistry engine of we used to only have like the fire, ice, electric arrows, and now you can have arrows. You can put literally anything you want on them.
Yeah. They made
And
it a
you
lot
can make
more fun.
whatever you want, which was so amazing.
This is a bit of a weird pull, but I watched like the GDC talk about how they made the game.
Yes.
And when I was
It's so
playing,
amazing.
it's incredible like seeing how they thought about making it, because
Yeah.
there's loads of interesting things like how the map is designed in like, if you look at actually the map of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and when you look at a specific viewpoint, they've designed everything in triangles, so all the hills are like placed in areas where you can always see something in the distance, like a tower or a
So true. Like when you go into a tower, you're like, okay, there's those 3 shrines that I can go and get. And then you get to one of those shrines, you're like, there's more shrines over there. It's designed so well.
In saying that, yeah, I've totally felt that. It's things that you can't put your finger on, but it just makes sense because there's no direct path of the game. There's no like you have to do this first. Every time you finish an organic thing you find, like say it's a shrine, say it's a cave, say it's a maze, there's always a direct line of sight, another shrine, another cave, another mission, another settlement to find. There's always leading things that keep you playing. It's like little bite-sized chunks that you just continually
You start the
enjoy.
game and your mission is like the same mission the whole way through. It's like find Zelda,
I found
is so cool.
I found it more compelling than Breath of the Wild as well.
Agreed.
I don't know why, because Breath of the Wild was just like save Zelda. This was like we have no clue. It's a mystery. We have no clue what's going on.
And I don't remember the story of Breath of the Wild like at all.
Yeah.
I just remember we woke up and then we had to get up.
Let's run it back. Let's go back to the start of like entering the game. Let's baseline for people who haven't maybe played the game before what the story setup is, and then also say like how we started the game. As well.
Sure.
Let's go from
Breath
there.
of the Wild?
So yeah, Breath of the Wild. So it's an open game. Organically, you find things. It's kind of like a free.
You always start on like a starting island.
Yes.
Which is like, here you go, like, here's a sword.
Yeah.
This is how you use it.
It's got that classic, you got the map all missing, and then there's got the towers that lit up like casinos in this one, which is really good, where you just find them, and it's just really easy to
Like
so
the
they're
Crown.
sort of like the towers which open up the maps.
Amazing.
For me, when I started playing the game, I'm just like, I got to get all these fucking casinos.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. I'm lighting up the map. That's what I'm doing.
I 100% agree. I always just want to get every single tower.
If the towers of the crown is like the Blood Moon like lockout laws for Hyrule.
It's
Oh
recent.
my god, I'm just like spamming one.
Oh my god.
Okay, so basically the game, like, so there's an open map. Go anywhere you want. You have this one job.
Blood
is to
Moon
find,
rises again.
I skip that shit every time it happens. It's like, shut up. We know what's
The one
going on.
mission is to find Zelda, right?
Yeah.
And we just have that overarching mission. And then in the last game, those chaoses just hit the world. And we're going down to the catacombs at the start of the game with Zelda. And we
In
have
Tears
all
of the
our
Kingdom,
hearts. So
yes.
In Tears of the Kingdom, we have all our hearts. We have like the 30 hearts. So it
was
starts
such-
off like you've been playing the first one.
Very,
which I
very
love.
sequel
Did
video
Did you
game.
like that start?
Yeah.
Like, were
I
you just
liked
like,
it.
okay,
I
like, I've got
loved
my
it.
full stamina rings. This is really satisfying. I've got my 30 hearts or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're going through the catacombs of Zelda. It's just like you just left off.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I thought it was
start.
really cool. It was also just strange playing a Zelda game that had that much like, I don't know, like, because I'm remembering my previous experiences of like old Zelda and it never really had that much
Like, callback.
story
Yeah.
like the cutscenes and dialogue were way more
Yes.
immersive than I'd had in previous
Yes.
Zelda games.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the one thing that really annoyed me is that Link still doesn't talk. And I just want him to say something.
I don't think
he
I
just
think
goes,
But But he also just waits for like if you've done the mission before and then like there's like, oh, I really wish I got this like herd of sheep back into my thing. You've already done. He's like, and then he waits for them to do the hospital. He's like, oh, you know, I've already done that. I've been through that cave. And he's like, what? You've already the sheep are already in the
Why
pen.
didn't you tell me?
Yeah, it's like he just waits for him to do his whole monologue, and I'm like, come on, Link, you already did this shit. But yeah, I kind of like it's kind of callback.
I dig the intro. I also dig like unmoisturized Ganon. I think that's like
Unmoisturized.
fuck.
He's just hasn't got a good skin.
Skeleton.
He's got no
Demon
good
King.
So
skin routine. Not on point.
No.
So we're running through the catacombs with Zelda,
Need some
and
retinols,
then
babe.
we have like a story of like there's something that's happened, and there's like a sort of ancient ruins that they find, and basically Link dies.
Well,
It was the
Or goes into a-
origins of Hyrule.
Origins of
there's a
Hyrule.
story on the wall of the past, and you see there's a person that looks like Zelda, and then someone looks like Link on it as
You
well.
remember we went back and saw it at the end.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what it was at the start, so we can set up what the sort of
It's similar to what was like. If you remember Breath of the Wild, they had a very similar thing too, where it showed the story of like how Ganon took over Hyrule, and as well as like how Zelda got trapped
He gets all
inside.
those goblins.
Yeah. So it was a very similar setup to Breath of the Wild and how they began their story.
Yes. And then, so the Demon King, he had the hand attached to him.
Yeah.
We lost our hand somehow.
So like he started getting corrupted by his power.
Yes, so Link was trying to fight with
lose
the Master
all our
Sword,
hearts.
and the gloom, which
Yeah.
is
Yep.
the dark substance that's throughout the game, attaches onto Link and corrupts him, and you start losing all of your hearts and your stamina that you've built up over the previous game.
So brutal.
It's
And you're
very
like,
brutal.
No.
And then you get something that saves you. It's like the hand, the power glove.
Yeah,
comes
and
in.
to be very more specific, the Master Sword
Raru.
shatters as well.
Yes.
And if you know, it's like the weapon that doesn't break.
Yes,
So-
and that's basically the setup. You go into a coma, you wake up in the Sky Islands, and go start doing some tutorials. So in this game, there is like an upper level with all these awesome Sky Islands, and then there's also like the main level, which is Hyrule, which it hasn't changed from the first
Yeah,
one.
it's changed a little bit.
Yeah,
with
it has changed. Like,
It's progressed.
The conceit of the game is that the event that's happened that's caused Link to be separated from Zelda has changed Hyrule a lot. So
Yeah.
Death Mountain, the volcano,
Yeah.
no more lava. So you can walk around
'cause
that
you can
entire
go in
space.
there.
Yeah.
But it's still really hot.
Yeah. So there's lots of things that have changed on the actual map, but in terms of like the environment, it's the same world you were in the previous
And
game.
I really loved that.
That was the challenge. I feel like, can they make it interesting? Like going into the game, I'm just like, that was my fears of the game. Just like, is it just going to be the same thing rebooted? Because from the get go, they established that it's going to be the same map. We love it. We're going to do it again. I'm like, am I going to buy this game? Am I going to? Is it going to be as good? Like, is it just going to be a
remember
reboot
a lot
of the
of
same
people
thing?
on the internet being like, "Oh, like why is it taking so long? It's the same, map."
Yeah.
But now you can see why.
There's a big reason why the game took
And it
a
was
long
so good.
time.
And
Yeah.
so we had, yes, like you said, we had main Hyrule, we have the Sky Islands, which was sort of like your tutorial island. I think it was
Yeah.
called something like that, like
The Great
introductory island.
the
Great Plateau.
Great Plateau is what it was in the previous game, and you
Yeah.
can go back to that too in this game as well.
You can?
Yeah, you can.
I didn't go there.
You can even go back to the cave where Link woke up in from the previous
Was there anything
game.
good in there?
There's an item.
Fuck,
Yeah.
we gotta go. Gotta go
Very
back.
cool. Yeah. We'll go in there for sure.
Link also like gets new starting equipment and stuff. He gets
Yep.
like a nice slutty top. that he-
Yes, his little,
yeah.
so cute.
Oh yeah, true. Yep.
Yeah.
He shows a lot of skin.
I like it.
all
I
of
like
the-
I like his new
All
hair.
of the good outfits that we like ramped up to the max with all the fairies. They were all very like skin tight.
Yeah, we loved it. Yeah, he's got a new hairdo in this one.
Yeah.
He's got a new power hand, which he's got new abilities with. So if you can remember
Yes.
the last one, we had like the bomb. We had the
Bomb, the freeze time,
There's a square bomb
yeah, and the
my
round
God.
bomb.
and the round bomb.
And then we had the magnesis and the
Yes.
ice
yeah.
power making,
So now we've got the power hand move.
which is pretty much magnesis,
Yeah.
stasis,
Yeah.
like everything.
And instead of freeze, we now have rewind, which is just so cool.
yeah.
It's bloody amazing. Like
It was kind of a combination of the like freeze one when you'd hit it with like
yeah, you could direct
to make
the
it
freeze.
launch.
Didn't
Which-
we have a time stop one in the Breath of the Wild as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes, you
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was freeze, or like like I
It's
said,
like the ice
time
tower.
stop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was bad wording on my half. The like time stop one, and then you would hit something with a hammer to make it like launch
It'll build
away.
momentum.
Whereas this one, if something has been somewhere, you can just
Reverse
rewind
its
it.
movement.
It's so crazy that the game is always thinking about where the object was for 20 seconds. Like it's
Yes. Yeah.
always registering like, oh, that rock fell down. Like obviously the ones that come out of the sky,
Yeah.
but like no matter what, anything that's moving, it's
Oh.
always
Has that
recognizing.
information.
There's
which
also the
is
fact that
brilliant.
like the magnesis thing now can connect different objects together.
Yes.
So
So they're attaching
yeah.
the physics. I think you can connect up to 20 objects or
I've
something.
never tried it. I've just
Yeah.
kept. The only thing I've done with it that's been really funny is to connect a bunch of apples, so I can then do the memory thing.
What did you do with a bunch of apples?
So we haven't. The other ability that you eventually get is the history
Auto build.
Auto build,
Yeah.
yep.
And what I did was a little hackers. When I got a bunch of apples, connected them together, and then used auto build and ran around a bunch of trees, and it automatically just picked all the apples for me. So I didn't have to
That's
climb up
so
them. And then I
smart.
just turned it off, and all the apples were just there.
Genius.
So
cool.
smart.
Wow.
And I love how they've left this game to like the ascending, right? That was supposed to be.
That's another ability. Yeah.
It's another ability
Ascend
that
was great.
it was just like a dev
Ascend
thing, right?
Ascend feels like a dev cheat that they
I
decided
think
to
it
make a
was
full
meant to
feature.
be.
Yeah, it
I'm
was-
like pretty sure that the guy was like, "Oh, we made this so we could just get out of the caves easy," and then we were like, "How about we just add it in?"
Just
Yeah.
keep it in.
So
'Cause it's
smart.
so that's what the game does is it's just satisfying to play.
Yeah.
You always it's feel like
And
you're
you
playing
never,
on
like-
God mode.
Yeah, you never like, "Oh, I have to go back that way." It's like you can just get out.
A lot of the like climbing in Zelda is just like taken out by
Yeah.
like
The,
just
the other
descending.
the other ability is the weapon merge one.
Yes.
Yeah, huge.
I also, one that I missed was you had the friend who would just launch you up into the air.
Yeah.
And I found like you could make the shield rocket was good.
That's
I
good.
just loved the guy.
Have you
with the
tried doing shield surf rocket?
shield surf
So
rocket?
you put the rocket on the shield, but you know how you flip the shield to surf on it?
Yes.
Do that in the air, and you like surf the shield in the air.
Wow.
Yeah.
We never
Where were
tried it.
you? Where were you before we finished the game?
Well, we could get back to it. There's still so much
is
stuff
that,
to do.
Is that all the abilities that we've mentioned?
I think so.
Because I wanted to
Oh.
say the thing I find so interesting about this game is I feel like there's no wrong answer
Yeah.
to anything
Yes.
you do in it.
You're always
Yes.
like, how about I try this? Apart from, okay, we'll get into one thing that we did that was wrong.
I saw a really
So wrong.
I saw a really funny meme of when you finish a shrine and it's like the two things talking to you, the statues.
Yeah.
I saw a really funny meme where it replaced text going, "Well, that's not how we intended to do it, but whatever."
you did it.
100%.
Sure. Just like bridge.
with the shrines, let's just touch on that. So there's the shrines which you allow you to get hearts and stamina, which allow you to go through the missions and also traverse
Yeah.
around the
You
place.
earn like a point, and once you
Yeah.
get 4, you're allowed to either
Trade
get
that in.
one heart or one stamina
Yeah.
widget. Yeah.
Exactly. And in the last game, they were sort of like puzzles a bit more. And this one, they're just sort of like introducing little things to you in the game that, oh, maybe you can try it like this. Like, and they give you all the tools to do it. Here's some timber. Here's a fan. There's a body of water to get across. You figure it out.
I think
Yeah.
that they're still all puzzles, but I think the thing that's so interesting about this game is that the puzzles are all revolving around this sandbox
Yeah.
feature, and the sandbox feature is just so incredible in how it just
Yeah.
works and how
I feel like they were
the freedom you have to solve a puzzle is just different.
less like riddles. There were
Yeah.
a couple in Breath of the Wild that you'd have to like run in between rooms and like put things in the correct position, or like remember the one that was like move the switch. that
Yeah.
would
Oh.
flip
They
the
very
board,
much were like classic
Yeah.
Zelda puzzles that I've played in other games.
which I love. But this one was definitely more focused on like here's some items that you probably wouldn't have thought to have merged together, but look what they can do when you put them together,
And then
which was so cool.
It gives you real applications, which then you use in other situations around the world.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel so smart and like makes you like, and every time you create something new, there's, as you said, there's a bunch of ways to do everything. It makes you feel like your creation's so special. And you kind of like that harebrained moment, you're like, oh, these things might go together. And you sort of just
Yeah.
chuck it together and then it's your creation, so satisfying that you did it that way.
It's really strange that like this is where they took it. Like,
reckon?
like Zelda is like it's very. I think you understand what a Zelda game is from the offset of thinking about it, but this is just so different to what a Zelda game has done before.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of just looked at games like Minecraft or Garry's
Yeah,
Mod or
very
Fortnite
sandbox.
and were like, what if we just added in the things that all those games have, but do it our way? And
So good.
Totally.
it's super strange. I remember I was watching the video clips for it before the game came out. I was just like, how is it, this is such a weird thing.
Yes, I was being like, we can build a car now.
My
and you're
first
like,
thought was
how
like,
is that going to be good?
my first thought was, oh my god, they're doing Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, but with Zelda.
What is Banjo and Kazooie nuts and bolts?
Yeah, you're gonna have to go in deep into that.
I think we
one.
just play
Haven't
on.
played
Sorry,
it.
we just had a bit of like noise in the background, but we're just gonna play on with it.
Suck it. Okay, Ryan, tell us about Banjo Kazooie nuts
Yeah,
and
so
bolts.
you just touched on Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts. Let's deep dive into this because I'm really excited.
Because we do not know what that is.
I actually don't think
Right.
I've played any Banjo Kazooie.
Do you know what Banjo-Kazooie is, though?
I know what they look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like basically, the company that made Banjo-Kazooie were eventually bought by Microsoft. They were rare. They made games for Nintendo. They got acquired because they made the best-selling Nintendo games. And then they brought back Banjo-Kazooie years later, but it wasn't really Banjo-Kazooie. It was Banjo-Kazooie, but instead of doing platforming, which is why you play Banjo-Kazooie, you're making vehicles and cars and racing around in them. And it was really weird.
Wasn't there a Crash Bandicoot where you just get in mech suits as well?
Yeah, there was.
It was like
Was it the Titans one where you had the masks?
Yes.
oh my god.
That was actually a good game.
We could ride
Actually,
the
that-
monsters.
yeah, that was sick. That was sick. That was a sick
sick.
game.
But the reason I bring up Banjo-Kazooie is because when I saw the gameplay footage for Tears of the Kingdom, my first thought was, oh my god,
What have they done?
what are they doing?
Yeah,
They're going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Honestly, going into the Tears of the Kingdom, I was just like, what the hell are we getting into?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like, am I going to, like, building carts going around the thing? And I'm like, it's kind of doesn't feel like Breath of the Wild anymore. It kind of feels like they're just trying to make some,
I
like...
talked earlier about the GDC talk, and I think the reason I feel so different about this game now is because I see their vision of what they're trying to do. Because when they were making Breath of the Wild, the sandbox parts, like the wind and how it blows the grass and how objects fall over.
Yeah, it was the chemistry engine, wasn't it?
Yeah, like all the things that they kind of built the game up on, I feel they continued building on after they made the game and decided to make a sequel, which is what this game is, but they took it to the extreme.
Yeah.
Which is where
So they're sort of pillars of the game of Breath of the Wild was they wanted every object to be able to interact with each other. So they had the like different categories of objects. So they'd have the ones that make fire, obviously, then interact with the ones that are made of wood, but don't interact with the ones that are made of metal. And then when wood is on fire, it creates light, which obviously like in our world is something that just kind of happens. But when you're building it in an engine, you have to categorize every single little thing into like what it can interact with.
the way they explained it was when they were building Breath of the Wild, they would start the game of just a field out in the open, and then they'd build what a pot was in the game, and then they realized, oh, the wind is blowing the pot over, and they would just start building the game on top of those pillars. And with this game, Tears of the Kingdom, I feel like they've just taken that and continued forth, but went so far of it that it's become this different
like
thing altogether.
you can make anything work.
Yeah,
And
because
it is so brilliant.
the thing that they've done now is they've added the technology in, right? They've added the little gizmos that you can add. So like there's a fan,
The
there's
lasers,
there's a flamethrower, a steering wheel, which allows you to make these contraptions that you can control and move around in and ultimately solve puzzles with.
The way I sort of...
I just want to point out, you guys made fun of me for this
Oh.
not that long ago, but this is very similar to Dwarf Fortress.
Ryan loves Dwarf Fortress.
Have you guys played Dwarf Fortress?
No, they just
Oh
love to
my
talk
god,
shit
this
about
is infecting the podcast.
It's really one thing one of my friends does is that he shares his Dwarf Fortress save with his friends. So he'll play, I think, 2 years in the game of Dwarf Fortress and then share the save, and they have like a recorded diary of all the things that have happened. He has a mare that continually just keeps building caskets, and there's no bodies for the caskets, but he keeps building them for some reason.
That's so
because
sick.
they've all just got weird personality traits, and sometimes
There's a
they
secret
just do
vampire in his fortress that no one knows who it
shit.
is.
Oh, you got to watch out for those.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you guys should do a Dwarf Fortress.
I think we
But-
got to get
but
it.
this
I
is-
think we got to get it.
You
know-
got to get it, but this is what I was saying about the like just creating the interactions between creating objects and giving them attributes, and then having those interactions just work, and or sometimes completely break the game.
Yes.
There was the one, I think I spoke to you guys, I don't know if you've heard about it, Ryan, where they introduced a texture on cats. No, they introduced cats licking their paws as
Yes,
part of their
I
thing.
remember this.
Yeah. And so
What
these
happens?
cats were walking around and then just getting really sick and dying. And people were complaining to the devs, like, why are all
Why
my
are
cats
cats
dying?
dying?
And we were just having these like whole fortress filled with dead cats. Like, what's going on? And then they went back through their sort of change log and were like, what could have caused the cats dying? And they realized that it was because they'd added the licking the fur, that cats also have an attribute that stuff sticks to their fur. And then they had also added that beer spills in their halls. So the cats were walking through the halls, getting beer stuck in their fur, licking their paws, and then getting drunk and then dying.
Oh my god!
What's really strange about Dwarf Fortress though, and this, I've got to listen. I know. Listen,
What is this game?
I'm gonna cut it. I've got a take that's kind of wild, but like.
Okay, dude.
So
let's see this.
What? Like, there's no real goal. There's no real goal in Dwarf Fortress, right? You're kind of just building shit, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that like Dwarf Fortress is just Animal Crossing for people who don't want to interact with the cute aesthetic of Animal Crossing.
So you're gonna play Animal Crossing either?
Well, Dwarf Fortress has a cute aesthetic now.
Yeah, they've added textures and stuff.
In my head, Dwarf Fortress is like an ASCII game. So
It's not that anymore.
What's an ASCII game?
But it was?
It was.
What's an
Okay,
ASCII
good.
game?
ASCII is like made of like dots and like hyphens and
Oh my god.
The art of the game is literally just letters
ASCII
and
art.
characters and
Yeah,
keyboard
but
characters.
it's not anymore.
But it's not anymore. Now it's got a full
textures and everything.
Oh, so it was originally.
Yes.
for 20 years or something like that. It's been free.
It's crazy.
It's been a free game that's just been
Sick.
supported by donations.
Sick. Okay.
It's a good game, but I'm just kind of pointing out that like people who play it, just they're playing Animal Crossing, but with
yeah,
dwarfs
just man
and
up
beer.
and play Animal Crossing.
Fuck
dude.
Animal Crossing.
Damn.
I think we're going
What
to
have we
need to find a new
stumbled into
producer
here?
here.
Okay. What were we talking about before?
I will have my Dwarf Fortress son, and you can have your Animal Crossing daughter.
Hey, none of these gender roles. I want a
my
Dwarf
God.
Fortress daughter,
Okay.
please.
Dwarf Fortress daughter.
My Animal Crossing
Animal Crossing son.
That's
Well,
the
we just
dream.
put the two games in front of them, and then whatever they want, they can choose. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Chose the
2020,
ball,
yeah.
you go with your mother.
So we're talking about the physics in Zelda.
Yes.
Chemistry.
The chemistry. So, and basically the way I saw it was anything I can do in real life, I can do in the game. Basically, if I know that timber floats, I'm going to be able to get the wood thing instead of the metal thing, put that in the water. Obviously, that's going to work. And the devs have thought of everything related to like real game physics.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
What?
Link's ball physics?
What? What? Oh no! Wait, I know what you're talking about.
just totally fucked my question off, and you just threw in something else.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw it on Twitter. No, sorry, X. I saw it on X.
Sort on
X.
Yeah,
So many things
he's
going on right
just
now.
fighting one of those big, like Hinox guys, and you get a shot. You got hit by him, and he flies backwards, lands on the ground, and the camera's like right in between his legs, and you just saw like
Does he have
nuts
nuts?
wiggling around.
Link has nuts?
I gotta show it to you.
This is what
It's
AAA.
so
This is what
fucked
This is
AAA
what we've
game
come
development
to.
gets you.
Somebody put them in.
Somebody?
There's someone in the credits who's like titled as like jiggle physics artist.
Jiggle physics.
Or like ball link like senior link
Senior
ball jiggle.
analyst.
The role is
Senior.
like it's
And
like
is it-
senior link ball jiggle
Jizzle.
jiggle
Left nut assistant to Fizzle.
director director
Sack
Director
mechanic.
of- okay.
director of link balls.
But like they're thinking about like time of day, like, and also when he's in the water, like tighter
Yes,
nuts.
exactly.
This is what an infinite budget in AAA
Yeah.
gets you.
Okay. So,
Anyway, what was your question?
Yeah.
There's
fuck
the
you.
sandbox. The
Sam-
sandbox.
So basically,
You can do whatever you want.
you can do whatever you want. You could do it. That's if you're getting into this game and you want to do whatever you want. That's basically this is what the game. This is the game
Yeah.
for you. You just do whatever the hell you
I
want.
felt like they watched the speedrunners finish Breath of the Wild in like 5 minutes and thought, let's give them more.
Yeah.
Let's bring that number down. Let's make it 2 minutes.
Can I say something? Just one more thing.
Yeah.
It is the developers seem like they've just said, look, this is what was fun in the first one. Let's make it let's just keep.
Yeah.
Let's cut all the fat and let's just make it fucking fun.
Yeah.
Let's just like, how do we make it quicker, more satisfying? How do we get to those
Yes.
bite-sized bits quicker and cut the fat out?
Okay, another thing I think they made a lot better was there was a couple times, but rarely felt like I was running out of things.
Yeah.
Like in Breath of the Wild, I remember like, oh, you've got to get more bomb arrows. Oh, I've got to get more of this. Whereas if you're exploring the game just naturally, you come across the bombs, you come across the water things, you come across the ice things, and you never have to really go to a shop and buy things. Even though I was like every shop I went to, still just like stacking arrows because I feel like you have to.
We did do the diamond hack.
Yeah. Oh,
we
yes.
did do the diamond
I
hack,
did
and I feel
the
like
hack.
we broke the game, and but
it was okay.
But it made the game more streamlined for us. We didn't have to like go like.
I gotta say, the
duplication hack.
Who cares about the store? Like the only reason I'm doing the diamond hack is literally just so I can buy shit from the store. I can't be
asked. I don't
asked.
want to have to grind.
Yeah.
I don't, because by the end of the game, like I didn't duplicate any of the other, ores. Yeah. But I had like 40 sapphires, like 50 rubies.
I've got a couple of ores.
I had a lot of. We did before they patched it.
Yeah,
there was a thing where what you could do is you would jump off somewhere. You would hold one item that you only had one left of.
Throw it.
No. This was pre that one. So this was you'd hold one item and then you'd hold 4 diamonds and then you'd just keep doing that. So what it would do is it would drop the one item and you would lose that one. And it would also drop the 4 diamonds, but because your whole bag had like shifted one, it didn't made it.
There was multiple hacks I saw.
But that was the OG easiest one. And you just keep doing that. You keep dropping it and then you end up with like 50 diamonds on the ground and 50 in your bag.
One of the easiest ones I saw was going to a certain area in the game and then shooting the item with an arrow into a space that just stops it, and it just so you know how there's bows and arrows that shoot multiple things with one source. So you equip one of the bows and arrows that shoots 5, put a diamond on the edge of the arrow and shoot it, and then it duplicates all those and makes them fall.
Smart.
That's so smart.
Much faster and more efficient.
That still happened.
No, they've patched that one.
But when you use those triple bow things, you use one bomb and you shoot 3.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yes, that's how the
good hack.
Yeah, it's a good hack.
I love that.
My only purpose for using it was literally just I don't want to have to get the rupees.
Yeah,
rupees is just so tedious.
I just
want
to buy every single outfit that I can, upgrade every outfit. I spent like $20,000-$30,000 building my house.
You just reminded me. The one thing we haven't talked about that's been hidden in the game is the underground.
Yeah, it wasn't mentioned in the trailer,
it's
but
so
that is
fucked.
It's a reveal, and it's so much fun.
Scary.
It almost when I first got introduced to the under, I'm like, this is like too much. Like it's like you're losing hearts as well. Like as every time
gloom was
it felt like a next level like.
I love it. What blew me away was just like I can't believe Nintendo just completely hid a third open world that's the size of the main map and never talked about it.
So it was a mirror of the map.
Yes.
It would, as you're unlocking it, you can actually see that, that obviously that spiral island, when you went and got that underground, it's still the spiral island. But everywhere there was a mountain up top, it was like a cavern down below. So
it was the exact opposite, which is so
a
cool.
mirror of the map, exactly, which is
like an
so
underworld,
amazing.
It's spooky vibes. Every enemy there that hits you deletes one of your hearts temporarily, so you can't recover it.
Yeah.
And it feels like a very different game because the way you explore that world is just more. This is a bit of a weird thing, but it felt like a roguelike where you have to you've got to go back to checkpoints, recover, get items, go around. It was a 100%. Very different flow to the main game.
And that's where I ran out of arrows.
But it also made you go down there ever so often because that's where you get bomb flowers, there you get muddle butt. That's where you get these special items that help you go through the main. So like you go
muddle
down.
Butt's the best.
You go down to the cavern. You just try and source these rare items. As hard as you can, and then when you're about to die, you just go back up, and then you go back to your main story. You kind of it broke up the game really well, and the gameplay was so much fun.
There's a lot of good synergy. Like you're finding treasure maps above the ground that go to the depths that give you all the sweet gear that's hard to find.
And I also loved the mazes.
Yeah, those are cool. The ones that force you to go to the sky and then dive all the way down.
I remember just being quite annoyed at them in the Breath of the Wild because they still existed there, but that would just be like you find a shrine at the end, whereas this one was you unlock the map, then you go through it, and it's not that hard. You're kind of just following it in the map, and then so you finish the one on there, and then you go up to the sky, and then once you've got the sky, it makes you dive all the way down.
It's sick.
Through the middle one, all the way down to the depths, and then you get like a sick outfit at the end. It's not like
the payoff
and a heart.
It was so good. That's the one criticism I've heard people who don't like this game is that they feel like the reward loop of the game is weak.
It's different. It's different to say you play an Elden Ring game, you have this big boss you're going to fight, and then you're just like, oh yeah, there's going to be some sweet loot at the end of this boss fight. I've really grinded to get this guy, but...
Rabbit
And
mask.
that you usually get all this XP, all these like items. It's just like, in this one, it's like, I'm just going to get
a shield.
Or just like his horn, and that's it.
And you know what? I think like people who dislike the game for that reason are probably playing the game for the wrong reasons. Where like, I don't think Zelda, you play it for the sick shield or the sick sword. You play it because like the puzzles and the overall flow of the game is like the enjoyable part.
I liked the rabbit mask.
Yeah, but you found
Makes
that
you
in Treasure
climb
Chest.
faster sideways.
It's the gratification in this game is very much more even scaled rather than just like big ups and downs. It's kind of you're doing things based on what you actually feel like doing rather than like you're getting forced to do something.
Yes.
Yeah. I think people who disliked of that very much came out of Elden Ring and they were just expecting the same thing when it's just not trying to be Elden Ring. It's a Zelda game. It's all about the puzzles. It's all about the exploration and stuff.
So how did you play the game, Ryan? Did you make good use of the auto build feature? Were you creating your own like crazy carts and things that would kill animals and stuff?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh wow,
I made a rice farmer.
What?
What? Just tell me more.
Oh my god.
The way you collect rice in the game is just by cutting grass. Just any grass, and it randomly spawns.
Yeah.
So I made a machine that basically cut loads of grass for me all at once. So when I came along, and also it had like a little scoopy thing. So if anything dropped, it's
How did you do? Did you look this up?
How long did this take you to make?
Well, I looked up a video of it online and then built it. But
That is
then
insane.
I also built a hover bike that allowed me to traverse really high places with only using 2 fans and one steering stick.
That's a classic.
We love
that is
one.
a classic.
It's really easy to break it though and fuck it up. So you have to like scientifically put it together.
Yes.
So it doesn't break.
I don't know. I feel like I was playing a different game that I was watching on TikTok.
Did you never engage with the sandbox stuff that much? Because I think this game...
I didn't go ham on the like monster killing machines. I saw some people get like 50 lasers and that would target.
I haven't gone that far because part of the limitation is you've only got a certain amount of energy cells to actually charge them.
Yeah, we did stack up a battery by the end.
Once we started figuring out the zonite you could change for batteries,
Yeah.
we just literally had like 200,000. Like we just had so much zonite, and then just changed it straight for batteries, and then we had like just infinite batteries, and then I just have like a fan with like the flying glider, and I just like literally glide to wherever I needed to go.
We
and
did
just,
the whole
did that whole thing.
top level before we realized that, because I thought for the longest time that the only place you could get batteries was like the original island.
Really?
So we didn't
so
get...
you never found the foundries?
We did way later. And then I was like, that's how people have like 50 batteries, because we had like 2 and was trying to do all these things, and I'd be like...
Because we didn't do any of the mines. We didn't do any... Because we didn't do the that clan. What was
the
it?
Yeager clan.
We didn't do the Yeager clan. We didn't do that until after we finished all the
I'm
main
missing
core
one
quests.
piece. I'm missing one piece of the gear. I think it's the bottoms. I've got the mask and the top.
Yeah,
but
I'm not going to lie. We had to look up
we
where
looked
those
that
were.
up. We're just like, we need to finish this Yeager clan.
Because they were in
It's
just
like,
such random spots on the map.
Yes. Yeah.
Only one of them they told you where it was. And that's something I found with Zelda as well, is if something is too hard, then you're probably not meant to be there yet. And there was like...
you're talking about the bit where it's just like...
but in like every shrine you'd go around and be like, okay, they've given me ice fruits, obviously I have to use that somehow. And you don't have to and they'd always give you like a rocket if you needed a rocket, or a hot air balloon.
Yeah, especially with the Koroks, we've got to try and take them back to their friend. There's always a piece of gear nearby.
I had so much fun with those guys.
That was great.
Like the fat guy rolling on his back, like, oh, my friend. And the friend's just like chilling at the campsite,
I'm so
like,
tired.
I'll put a flare up. He'll be around soon.
How'd you torture your ones?
So for people who haven't played, there's just like there's a fat Korok, which is like they give you.
He's not fat. He's just got a really big backpack.
He's got a big backpack. You can't get off his back, and basically Koroks are things, little mini games throughout the world that give you, if you get enough of them, they give you more inventory slots for your shields, your bows, and your swords. And one of the missions is to get him back to his friend, and you can do this any other way. You can pick him up with your your gravity hand and just walk him across, or there's usually like a bunch of like equipment you could potentially use to send
like rocket shit him
you could
away.
could rocket him back across. You could make like a fan glider. It's endless, and it's so much fun. People have so much fun. Like
one that I saw was really smart was someone attached a piece of meat to an arrow and shot it to where the guy was, and then brought it back over and did the reverse on the meat.
Stuck him onto it.
Stuck him to the meat and just went.
Yeah.
So smart.
That's ingenious.
Yeah.
I was the person who just like picked him up and carried him for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I liked looking at all the memes online of people like torturing them. Like,
do you see the person who made like the 3-part rocket ship?
Yeah, I did. That was fantastic.
It was a rocket ship that blasted off, and then once that part it broke off, and the next rocket, and he was just like launching them into the sky.
I saw the one where they collected all the different Koroks who were trying to find their friend and made like a bit of a Jesus cross like fire for them. Yeah.
Oh my god! When
this is intense. I'm just looking at Korok genocide, the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom ultimate Korok torture compilation.
So long. And this was like week 1 of the game coming out, and people were like,
my TikTok was my first like introduction to like TikTok people playing the game was just like someone making this flaming penis. Like was just like great. Okay.
Yeah.
But like I love how much they've given,
how creative this community is,
and how much power they've given
together.
It's invented a new metric called like TTP.
What's that?
Time to penis.
Time to pingers.
Time to
penis.
Time
to time to penis.
Because like any game you give the ability, any game you
TTP.
give any
What's our TTP right now?
any game where you give people like the creative freedom to do whatever they want, they're just gonna do a penis in it. So like you give people the ability to like
how quick.
Like, you know, Nintendo in their office were like, what's the TTP?
Yeah, come on.
It's like
12
seconds.
What do you mean? What do you mean? So like someone like just penis anywhere?
Yeah, like Minecraft. Like, what's the time to penis in Minecraft? Oh, you need like 12 blocks to make like a phallic looking dirt penis.
Day one.
Have you seen those things where people like look up a Pokemon and scroll on Google Images to see how long it takes for them to become sexualized?
Oh God.
And it's like
no,
how long until Electrode, like someone drew titties on it or something. So it's the same thing. It's like how far do we have to scroll?
Did you hear the podcast? I think what's the God is Dead guys did one on the nutting to Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
have you heard that
one
whole story?
Pokemon every day.
Yeah, it was like having to nut to a Pokemon every day, and they had a random number generator to pick which Pokemon they were going to do it to.
Did he time himself as well? Because that's fucked up.
I think he was doing like 2 a day sometimes. I think it took him a year.
God. People coming here
like
for Zelda,
2 years or something.
People coming here for
it's Nintendo. It's related.
No, it's not.
We can cut this out.
No, it's not.
I was just
We'll
explaining.
put the explicit on this one, guys.
I was just explaining the concept that it's now been invented because of Zelda, that every game's coming. Like, look, here's the thing. People are going to try and replicate this game because it's successful.
Yes.
And they're going to have the same problem.
Yes.
Like, there's no way. Like, how do you stop that?
You can't not make a dick in a game with a
Yeah,
sandbox.
right? So TTP is an important metric we need to think about.
I think 2 fans and 1... I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
2 fans and like a long...
Exactly.
You're talking about...
I mean, it sounds like
that's like 4
Zelda
seconds.
timed to penis themselves. We saw Link's balls.
straight away. Yeah.
Exactly. That was a rare occurrence. We're definitely going to have to get that one up.
They're totes a couple now, like Link and Zelda.
Have they not? Like, I feel
They
like...
have a house. You can go visit their house. It's cute.
You can go to their house?
They have a house. Yeah.
Where?
Wait, how long's he been chasing her around? They're just a couple now?
Yeah, they're just friends.
I was...
She has a house
like
in
his
a
loyal
bodyguard.
servant.
Do you know the Mushroom Village? Hatano?
Yeah.
They have a house there.
But what about the house I built myself with my koi pond and my horse?
That's different. I think I remember hearing that there's like statements that they're actually together.
There's a
now.
diary. You can find Zelda's diary, and you can see how they live and stuff. It's cute.
This is so sad.
So they're
I
actually
never got any of this lore.
Yeah.
It's weird though because
I've
people are
heard.
saying like, no, they're just roommates. I'm like, shut up.
And they were roommates.
One thing I'd like to say was, you know, in your log, when you're going through your mission log, and it sort of like explains like what you're doing and what like currently the mission is,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like third person. In the Spanish and Japanese one, it links explaining it like a diary, like I went here and I went here.
That's cool.
So
I
like
that.
there's people playing like the Spanish version just so they can get the first person like diary version of like
So
Link
why
doing
didn't we
things.
get
Why
that?
didn't we get that?
I don't know. That was just like some sort of thing.
And you
that
want to
they-
imagine Link just like writing, and then I went,
Yeah,
and
and
I
I'm looking
got
for Zelda
the,
here and, like-
got the sword.
Oh man, that's upsetting. I would have loved that.
Yeah, that
so
is
little
cute. You've
thing
just
you could-
ruined it for Ryan.
No, but like, if you want replayability, maybe play it in like Spanish
Learn
and
Japanese.
chuck some Duolingo on.
Genius.
Why not?
I think so. Obviously, we're not spoiling anything because Ryan hasn't finished it.
No, I'm very close.
The end game was amazing.
Yeah,
and I
Endgame
cannot
was
wait.
really
You are
good.
gonna love it.
Okay, cool.
You are gonna love it. There were points, especially in like, I think the final couple hours where Jules and I were just going, "Oh my god, this is like," they made it so much more satisfying to get to the end. I feel like
That's
Breath of the
great
Wild
because I was
just like,
disappointed.
it's just like, oh, like it did the classic, like you kill the boss, he gets his health.
Yeah,
back.
me
Like,
too.
not
That's one
that
thing I
hard.
haven't said. Like in Breath of the Wild, people were disappointed that they weren't temples,
Yeah.
and they've just straight up done temples now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, which I think is better.
The underground like colosseums. Have you done it
Very
again?
cool.
They're fucking
And
sick.
Very
I,
cool.
in Breath of the Wild, ignored all the Lionel fights, ignored all the really
The
scary.
Lionel fights are fucking easy now.
Yeah, and in Tears of the Kingdom, like was terrified. Gloom hands were so hard, but once you
Yeah.
learn how to do them, you're like, cool, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then the Gleeok fights, and I was like, actually felt empowered
Gleeok-
enough to go
Gleeok's
and
Gleeok
do
fights
them.
are like Dark Souls boss
They're
fights.
so much fun
difficult.
though.
Gleeok
They
fights
are.
the new
loved
Lionels.
them.
Yeah, they are.
But
Yeah, well,
Lionel's also very hard.
I find the Lionels are easy now of all the tools you have.
Yeah, I found the Gleeoks were easy because of all the
Really?
tools we had.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm having
Just
a hard
use
time.
the eyeballs.
Yes. Yeah. Well, have good weapons and eyeballs.
Yeah.
I feel like
The
in this,
triple bows.
I
Yeah.
feel like in this one you have more ways to combat
Yeah.
your enemies. And I feel like
100%.
they've really thought that through rather than just like
Yes.
one way to do it. Also, boss fights, there's like a different bunch of paths
Yeah.
you can take with that.
100%.
So it's really interesting. How
But
people
you have to defeat the Lionel to get the like triple bows, which then help you defeat the Gleeoks, which was just, I love the sort of circular economy that you
Yeah,
have
okay.
in that.
Can I
whole
bring
thing.
up something? Did you use any amiibos? I loved having that amiibo there the whole time. So you have like the power. So you have your abilities. So you hold down like left trigger or something like that,
And you have
then-
the wheel.
And you have your wheel. You have your attached to any weapon. You have your power hand. You have your rewind time. And there's big massive thing on the menu. Amiibos. What the?
It just gives you like meat.
I haven't
And-
used. I do have amiibos, but I've never
You
used
should-
them. I probably
okay,
should do it.
You should try it because apparently I just saw people that would put the amiibos on the Switch and they just get like, just eyeballs.
Did you guys know?
meat.
I learned this. You know, in Nintendo Land.
Yes.
You know the bracelets are amiibos.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they just those little
Yes, but they count as amiibos as well.
NPC
The Mario,
tags? What are they
Mario,
called?
Luigi, and Toad ones, and Princess Peach
Yeah.
ones. Those are amiibo. You can put them on your Switch and they count.
And they count as
Yeah.
like.
But what do
Mario,
they do? I
Toad?
think
I
only
haven't been, but they
only
count.
the
Ethan's looking up what the fuck is an amiibo again.
so like only the Toon Link one will give you the Toon Link outfit, and like if you had like the
Oh.
Dark Link amiibo, you get the dark like stuff like that.
That's
You
I'm
get
sure you can unlock them like in the
naturally,
game.
but like
can,
there,
yeah.
but there are specific amiibo outfits you get with like that that
Right,
can attach to
okay.
the Zelda game that drop a chest.
I'm trying
and
to
do the
finish
thing.
my deity Link one because I love more Majora's Mask. 'cause I
Yeah,
love
we
that.
never found the Toon Link outfit.
Yeah, I think that was an amiibo, but I can't remember. But
I would like to find it.
I think that was the only application for the game was just like you either get like meat or something like that, or like you get an
They were
outfit.
using like Animal Crossing amiibos and it just give you random stuff.
Yeah. So that was one of my qualms with like the wheel there, just having that amiibo thing there the whole time. being
Actually,
like how much?
talking about like the UI, how do you guys feel about
Hate it.
Yeah, like, and I've been trying to think about like how I'd do it differently.
What I think they needed to do is instead of just having the sort function, and just have everything in your bag and like be able to sort it by, they needed more slots, like more categories.
The game needed a quick select.
We needed to be able to favorite stuff.
Yeah,
We needed to be able to like sort them how you would like to sort them. But again, pulling out the arrow and clicking up and having that just one long list of every single thing you can attach to the arrow was
they should have.
so painful.
They should have. Like, I know I'm simplifying the problem a bit, but they should have tried and done something like the Dark Souls and Elden Ring games have, where like up is just immediately heal for whatever. There's a consistent heal thing, so maybe your food will always you'll eat whatever will give you health back, or
Yeah.
maybe there's like a common item use button that you can use for things that have been commonly
I
used.
just found
So when we're talking UI, we're talking about everything on the screen that you can use your
Everything
items for.
Yeah.
that isn't the game.
Yeah.
It's all the words, all the buttons, all the
I found myself
icons.
inventory,
Yeah.
especially in
management.
this game where we're attaching things to arrows all the time, I was always found myself
Yeah.
scrolling through to
Yeah.
find that specific
Yeah.
thing.
That's
And
what
also when I was like going to use weapons, I'll be using my like sapphire staff to freeze them, and I was constantly pausing the game, freeze. What weapon do I want to use now? Freeze. Which weapon do I use? It
Yeah.
didn't. It kind of took me out of that battle, the
Yeah.
combat, where I had the time to select my specific thing because there's so much customization with the game. It kind of didn't find that balance between the UI with that. I feel like that didn't really feel
I just,
perfect, but it didn't ruin my game.
It did the job, but it just felt cumbersome.
But also, I'm just going into specifics here. But
Shoot.
when you sort your armor, and you would have all the armor that was like the different types of stuff,
God.
it wouldn't. When you sorted
Yeah.
them by set, it wouldn't put the sets that do the same thing next to each
It's
other.
so stupid.
So you wouldn't have the like. Would have two outfits that would do electric, and one of them would be up here when you sorted them by set one. And I'm
yeah,
just
true.
like, put them all together. They're
they
doing
need-
the same thing.
They needed one that just said like overall strength as well.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes you go into a boss battle, it didn't
You
matter
just
what
want
you're
all
wearing.
your
You just wanted your
defense
strongest
up.
thing, and you'd
Yeah.
have to like it'd take you out of it again. You'd be like, bloody hell, where's
There's
this
the
thing?
20. There's the
And
so annoying.
And then you'd be like, okay, back to the fight.
yeah, they had
just
the
that-
option to
those-
sort, and they should have put more.
Those moments could be a bit more clean, but that wouldn't
so
ruin
easy.
my whole experience of the game.
That's one gripe. The other gripe I have that's really specific is like cooking in the game. I wish that
I like the noise.
I like it, but like at a certain point in the game, you're just having to make like 20 meals in a row.
If you could make 10 of these.
They sort
Yeah.
of addressed that with the menu items where you could recreate things that
Yeah.
you already made, but
Yeah.
you still had to do the
The-
task of
and
create
yeah.
everything
Yeah.
to fill up
Hold
your
them all,
inventory.
yeah.
And there's no way to like regain health quickly without cooking. So
Yeah.
it's just a thing you have to do regardless.
Yeah.
I actually quite enjoyed the cooking mechanic.
I know, I really enjoy it too, and I love finding recipes and
Yeah.
stuff. It's loads of fun. But at a certain point when you get to the end of the game
Where
you
you
kind
need to make bulk.
yeah, because you're going through so much food to recover health and stuff.
that's
It's just a thing you
you-
constantly do.
You'd get the specific mushrooms, right? And then you'd end up just putting 2 mushrooms together and it'd give you the full hearts. So you'd find like
The
once you-
hardy
once you-
truffles.
the hardy
Yeah.
truffles.
I did
were the
appreciate it
quickest-
has a recipe list now.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
great.
So
I
it
love
was
that.
addressed, and I like how they're going back to other
They
games.
could have
that
gone further.
other games that I played, like Horizon, going into Horizon Forbidden West,
Mm.
that felt just like it was more bulk, more content, and just stuff that we didn't. It was more bloat, right?
Yes.
This game trimmed it back. They've really thought about the gameplay experience and
Mm.
how to make that a better overall balanced experience for fun.
Yeah.
To enjoy that. So
Yeah.
I'm doing the things that I enjoy the game for rather than bloating up with more content. So thinking about 1-2 punches with games like with Zelda, this one feels so much more fun to play. And
Yeah,
it feels
100%.
like you
Yes.
said, it was like the next level. Like the other
Yeah,
one was like a
100%.
precursor, and they've just made it so much more fun. With
I
the
just think
second
they
one.
didn't hold back.
Yeah.
Like I heard that when they were developing Breath of the Wild, they just had so many ideas that they just didn't put in the game, and this feels like
They were allowed to. They
upgraded
let themselves.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
it's like this is gold. Let's just go. Let's make the game
Yeah.
we really wanted to make.
Again, it's because you had that sort of prior knowledge of like, we know what we're doing now.
Mm.
And now you've got all these players who know what they're coming into, and you can teach them so much more.
Another like interesting detail about the making of the game is that it's it's the biggest game Nintendo's ever made internally. Like they had to
Yeah.
build it their staff, but also it's the first time in a very long time at Nintendo where the series is kind of being developed by a younger team who isn't like an old guard. I can't remember the guy's name, the director of Zelda. He's still involved, but like he's not as big of a piece of it as the younger staff members who are involved in the project.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Love it.
when you hear about the stories of how Nintendo have made games in the past, a lot of the time it's like the older Shigeru Miyamoto's kind of
Yeah.
pushing down like it has to be this way. Whereas
It's like how
traditionalist.
Pokemon has gone kind of slowly downhill because they are too scared of making a different
and look
game.
at games like Splatoon, where
Yeah.
like that's a
Haven't
new
played
IP and it's crazy successful in Japan.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And yeah, I definitely think they just really nailed it. And like you were saying, we've had a lot of sequels come out recently. We had Ragnarok, Last of Us 2, and do you find that they're kind of on the same scale? Like, were they as much of an improvement on the last game than Zelda was?
I think Zelda's way bigger.
Yeah.
To me at least. Like, and also I think technically when I think about the game, I don't think anyone else could replicate what they've done with this game easily. Because when Breath of the Wild came out, everyone was making Breath of the Wild clones.
Yeah.
All over. But to do the sandbox mechanics and like the weird creation gimmicky stuff that's in this game is like insane. Because when I wrap my head around how you make a game that has this much physics, sandbox stuff going on, it's like...
I also think the sound design was done really, really well.
Yeah.
And I can't say that it's that different from Breath of the Wild, but just the satisfaction when you get to the next point of shrine, it does the like doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle.
Oh yeah,
And you're just like, yes.
I love
I'm
it.
so
Definitely
happy
the
with
sound
myself.
design in this one was more of an upgrade from the first one.
You think so?
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like there's a bit more like jazzy numbers when you're going into like the Gloom has its own soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like shrines, I think they've kept the same.
Yeah.
I think, but
And like opening chests and everything.
They still have that like jazzy number when you like there's like a combat scene coming up. But overall, it feels like a cool game to play. Like if someone was walking to me watching the game, I'm like, this is a cool game that like it sounds.
Side note,
cool.
just talking about chest opening, when we put Link in an outfit where he doesn't have shoes on and he kicks the chest open, he was like, ow.
Yeah,
Which hilarious.
Yes.
I love all the ambient tracks.
That's what you need. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love all the
little
ambient, like,
bits.
I love the calm nature
Yeah.
sounds and music.
It's still,
I love the fairy fountain.
yeah.
oh my god.
Not
So-
the fairies; they're a bit full on, but I like the fairy fountain music.
It's so cool and calm and like
and they're like
jazzy.
Wow.
But then when you bump into anyone, it's like, whoa. Ugh.
This is another strange thought, but like I've got some people who are parents and they've been having their kids play the game too.
Yeah.
And when they've been talking about how their kids play the game, it made me really happy seeing that there's a game out there that's like so open-ended.
Yeah.
Because there's so many games I see nowadays that just don't let people go wild with
Yeah. And I feel like as a kid, you would just like really, I can imagine myself just sort of like playing. I used to play Crash Nitro Kart with my friends, but we wouldn't play the racing. We'd just sort of run around in our cars and like play pretend in the world. And I can imagine Zelda would be a lot of fun.
It's really crazy to like kind of not handhold players in a game like this.
Yeah.
Despite Nintendo always kind of somewhat handholding people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think definitely like biggest Nintendo game ever.
Yeah.
Best. Dare I say it?
It's definitely in the conversation for sure. Like I'm like,
what beats it for you?
well, like for me, it's the best. But I'm kind of just like I've just finished it. I'm kind of still letting it settle for myself. Like it's great. It's definitely in the conversation for sure.
I'm gonna have that hole in my heart like I had when I finished Breath of the Wild, and I'm just like, I just want to play something like that again.
They're definitely going to make DLC for it, I reckon.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild came out 2017, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It was kind of the flagship game that came out with the Switch.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting this to be the last game that came out on the Switch, the last big release.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Pikmin 4
What's
came out
next?
Pikmin 4 came out a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
just
actually-
recently. Recently came out.
Yeah.
But I still think they haven't dropped a new like Mario Kart. They haven't dropped a new Mario Kart. Then Odyssey was like still the last biggest one. It's just like I feel like they're waiting for the next drops. Like on
The rumor is that
come
the
out.
rumor is that the Switch 2 is coming out at the end of next year.
Switch
yeah,
2.
that's why I
Heard it here
thought
first.
with when we
Ryan
saw
predicts.
No one has.
when we
I heard it
saw
from someone else.
Zelda's arm, because you know how the
Oh my
Zelda
God,
games
yes.
always have like a version of the Switch or like whatever Nintendo.
Like the
Yeah.
Sheikah Slate was like.
Sheikah Slate.
was like the Nintendo Switch. I thought the
No,
Zelda arm.
the Sheikah Slate was the Wii U.
Okay, this was the Pura Pad, remember? So the
Yes,
Sheikah
the-
Slate was the one before it was the Wii
The
U.
Sheikah
and
Slate was
this-
the Wii U. This
Yeah,
is the
yeah, yeah.
Switch.
I thought the
good.
arm was gonna be like the Power Glove.
It's like
So-
the new Wiimote. The
new
Wiimote.
And I'm like, okay, I'm here for
Use
that.
your sword.
I'm here for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Switch 2 is just you use your hand as a
hand.
controller. Put a glove on.
I think they're in a space now where they have to just do a Switch 2. It has to be a handheld.
There
feels
was
like a
some
good bookend
very
to the console.
significant not lag, but like loading times, which I don't often notice personally. But
I think it's a
coming
miracle.
from the PS5,
I think it's a miracle this game runs at all.
the fact that they can make this work and then Pokemon like Arceus was like, oh, sorry, we couldn't put like more trees in.
This game had a year delay
Bro.
before it came out, and apparently that was just to make it run.
Yeah,
Like they finished the game, and then it's like, cool, let's make sure it actually works now.
but yeah, I think Pokemon just pull your pants up.
Yeah, when you compare it to Pokemon, it is like night and day. But I people were saying they had problems. I didn't have any problems with like rendering or no problems that like really took me out of the game. It ran so smoothly. And to think about the Switch as a console, it's like the same power as a PS4 or something like that, and it's handheld.
Some people are just performance golems and they want everything to be 60 frames per second.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, neither do I.
Like one thing I remember from Breath of the Wild, you'd be like flying on your little wingsuit and you'd come down and things would like pop in and load. And you would like come in, think there's this big empty, and then like one of those big giants would just be like sleeping on the ground. You'd be like, shit, and like have to, which in this game I didn't notice at all, which is so impressive. Like it being on the same console, and you know, basically like
I can definitely hear my Switch whirring like a fucking typhoon.
She's working hard.
Yeah, they're pushing it to the limit.
What do you want from a Switch 2 as Switch owners?
Ooh, I think like it's hard to imagine anything else better than what we have now.
I want an LCD screen.
Yeah.
A better screen.
So do you often use your Switch off?
I use it for both.
On the bus.
I was playing it on the way here.
Yeah, there you go.
I just use it like as a PlayStation.
I love sitting in my bed and playing it. Like I like being able to move my games.
Yeah.
That's its competitive advantage, right?
Yeah.
That's
it's
why
like the PSP.
That's why the Switch sold out the Xbox and all that sort of stuff, because it had that
Sims
difference
PSP.
of.
Yeah, but I'd want a better screen. This is silly, but I'd love an Ethernet port on it.
Just to power up.
Yeah, and I'd want also just better performance, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Nintendo though, however, are always playing a niche. So there's going to be something that's different about it.
Yeah, that's so true. They do like to kind of push. What happened to Nintendo Labo?
Oh my
like
god!
Those little, you just make stuff out of cardboard. I remember thinking that sounded really fun.
And you can make your own games.
Yeah.
You can make a keyboard, a mech.
Yeah.
But that's been the problem with Nintendo for so long. So you have to have a drawer full of.
Yes, like the Wii Fit,
the golf
where you just have the
like
plastic thing on the ground and you'd stand on it and be like, you are obese.
Nintendo's never gonna like beat the whole visual race.
I think they're in their own.
They have to.
They have their own lane.
Yeah.
As long as they have a bit of backwards compatibility, I'll be happy.
They always do.
Yeah, but like I think we're going from the Wii to the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch, they didn't have that, but I feel like the Wii U did so poorly, and then the Switch was like the big uprising. Yeah. It's kind of like you want to make sure you have it from the Switch to the Switch 2.
But what they had, like I remember even with the DS, when you would move to the DS, the first one had the slot for the Game Boy Advance game. And then it would have like the Game Boy Advance, you could put the Game Boy Color games in it. And when they brought the Switch along, they still brought out Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, which I think is why performance was not as good as it was on this one.
A lot of like distributors and like games companies are just like, can we not have backwards compatibility? Because like it's a money making thing, you know what I mean? It's I feel like you just got to weigh up what's more important, like holding on to consumers or you know just getting people to rebuy them.
I've got a question for you two that I've been thinking about.
All right.
Hit us.
So they've said out loud that this is the direction the Zelda franchise is going to go forward now in the future.
Cool.
And I've had a lot of thoughts about this, but what do you think they'd have to do to make a sequel to this?
Oh my god. I feel like what if they just went full JRPG romance? You can romance anyone in the whole kingdom.
Oh my god.
That's what I want out of it.
You want to date
then he's cheating on Zelda.
Fuck it. It's taken so long to
you
get
want to date the Zora?
Yeah, I want the fish man. I want him to hook up with the fish guy.
Nice. The things you could do to those Koroks.
Oh my god.
That's so
They're
epic.
so cute.
What?
No, what about the naked tree guy that just like shakes the maracas? Love him. Yeah.
I did actually. I've been watching T. My housemate's broken her leg, and she's been playing Zelda non-stop.
Yeah.
And I came in the other day, and she was. This is Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Climbing up a mountain, bunch of sort of bird-like creatures.
The bird guys.
Yeah, they thick.
Yeah.
What's going
They got the thick thighs.
They've got that wingspan.
There's have you ever met there's a whole town that's just girls, and they're not allowed to talk to you. You have to dress up as a girl. And they're so cute.
You have to dress up as a chick.
And they're all so cool. And
no men allowed now, town.
Yeah, no men, no vote allowed.
No vote allowed.
So
and then
cool.
you get to be the one guy that's
Have
allowed
you-
in the town because you saved them.
Yeah, and they're just like, he's chill.
The only reason
He
they
looks
ever
like a
leave,
chick.
the only reason they ever leave the town is to find a man, but they
Yeah.
can't bring men back because men
Yeah.
are allowed in.
That's so cool.
Have you played?
Because Ganon is one of the men.
One
and
of
He
he's
was one of the
evil.
men. He's like the most evil dude.
There's only a man born once every like 1,000 years.
That's
And it's Ganon.
Yeah, it's
That's
Ganon.
fucked up.
It sounds like Lamplight in Fallout, if anyone remembers that.
I do not.
Old deep cut.
I wish I did.
Fallout's so sick.
Oh,
I'll just finish your question off really quickly. I'd love to see a linear version of this, and where you're
Right.
just sort of like taken through a track, but
No.
it's done. They're doing so well. If they
so
can
you
put
don't
that.
want you don't want
Why
to do
would you
open
want it
world.
to be linear?
I don't know. I just love I just
a
love
God of
combat,
War.
and I love linear paths, and I love sort of like building up and leveling up. I'd love to see their version of it because they're just so. It seems like they're just got such a
That's
good
what
system.
but that's what it used to be, and now we're open and we're free and we can do
I don't
whatever
know. I
we
just
want.
feel like I'd love to them to bring it into like today's like the best graphics ever, like a really well written story. The story for this is kind of like
Yeah.
sub to
Story
the
was a lot better
to the environment. Do you think the story was a lot better?
than Breath of the Wild.
I agree.
A lot.
I'm
like
way more
it's
interested in this.
it's no Last of Us.
It's
no nothing like that.
You don't play it for the story, but in general,
You
the
want it to
story
be a Last of Us?
the story
Let me
gives you a
finish. I was gonna say
Fine. Sorry, this is
Yes.
a discussion.
yes. I would
TED
like.
Talk.
I would like it to be a bit more of the forefront. I feel like the story is sub to the environment. It's kind of like more about adventuring and exploring and doing everything and
That's
organically.
what makes it special.
I know. That's what makes this version of Zelda special.
So you want like a that and a really
I want
great story?
like world building characters and like you have these awesome arcs.
You want-
I agree it's a better story than the first one, but I would like
You want like HBO
teared up
Tears
a
of the
little bit.
Kingdom.
hell yeah.
You want,
Dude, you'd fucking hate Dwarf Fortress.
No, I do respect this for what it is because it's one of my favorite games ever. But it'd be interesting to go in that direction. Is what the answer was.
I have a lot of thoughts about what they're probably going to do next.
Go on.
yeah. What are your thoughts
so
and theories?
if you watch that GDC thing where they showed like how they were making Breath of the Wild, they showed all the ideas that they were coming up with. One of
We'll
them was
link it.
like post-apocalyptic Link, where he's where he's on a motorcycle and has a sweater and shit. There's astronaut Link, where he has like a spacesuit.
Oh, Space Link.
So I was thinking, like, knowing that they're adding all this contraption and vehicle stuff and all this
Yeah.
like sandboxy things, I reckon.
Going to space.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I also feel like they're probably going to do a thing of what if it's different continents? Like, what if it's not? They've got this idea of islands and just
Yeah,
different worlds.
we have fixed Hyrule. Let's fix somewhere else.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, what if it's they harken back to like Wind Waker, where you're going between these really big.
Is Ganon in every game?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in
So
every
he's
single
coming
game.
back, but we like.
You
fucked that
know the
guy up.
concept of how like it's a different era of Zelda and Link.
yeah,
And,
like there's the dream status, and when he goes back in
The
time,
only-
they have like the young Link.
The only
and
game, actually, that's a lie. Ganon's not in Majora's Mask. He's not the villain in that.
It's just the world ends.
It's the Skull Kid.
Oh,
He's the
creepy.
antagonist.
yeah, he
Yeah.
has the mask on. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
But I think they're gonna go to space, and I think they're gonna
That's cool.
They're gonna focus on like I
It's like
hearken-
Starfield.
Well, I was just thinking about
Starfield. So you heard it here first. Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom 2 is going to be the new Starfield.
well, I was just thinking about how they went with Mario. Remember, like they had Mario
was great.
64,
Oh, that was sick.
then
Yeah, yeah.
Sunshine, and they went to space with Galaxy. So I feel
Mario Galaxy is one of my faves.
one of the
Marios.
best games ever made.
Do you
Yeah.
think the Mario franchise has like sort of broken their mold as hard as what Zelda has done?
I think they not as hard, but they definitely what was that one called with the hat that you throw?
Odyssey.
That was great. And I'm glad I played that before I played Breath of the Wild because I was
Yeah.
like, this was sick. And then I went to Breath of the Wild and I was like, oh my God, this is even like next level.
I'm really looking forward to a new Metroid game.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4.
Are they remake? They did a remake.
They remade Prime 1, yeah. It's epic.
I don't know too much about Metroid. If you want to touch on that, just
We're really
quickly.
just looking like we know nothing.
Oh,
with Ryan
Metroid?
in that seat.
It's like
You should host this.
Well, it's casual. This is
We
what
are
it's
the
about.
casual, you are the real.
Yeah.
The basis of Metroid is you run around caverns, you find upgrades to solve puzzles you can't solve yet, and you
Yeah.
go around and shoot aliens with a blaster.
Yeah.
But the Prime
yeah.
series is like that, but it's a first-person shooter.
I saw the first person part. Yeah,
It's epic.
Looked
So imagine like a
interesting.
first-person shooter puzzle game where you get upgrades and missiles
Okay,
and
fun.
blasting.
sick.
That sounds
Sick,
great.
sick, sick.
I'm in.
Yeah, and you can scan things and get details on them and shit. It's
Brilliant.
fun, and you can turn into a ball and drop bombs.
I think
I had Metroid on the Game Boy
Yeah.
yeah.
ball.
It's
I
it's
remember someone
tricky.
being like, Samus is a girl.
If you get to the end of
Ruined it.
Metroid
that's
1,
where Samus comes from.
if you get to the
I
end of
love
the game,
her.
she takes all her armor off and like
Zero suits Samus, and I like playing her in the little volleyball
Yeah.
outfit.
In Smash
In
Brothers.
Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers.
it's all just a big alien reference.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's fab.
Hell yeah.
So we're gonna do that. Okay, one thing I have to say moving forward, Ryan, is there is a place in the sky that is covered in a thunderstorm, and you go there and you
Yes.
can't see anything.
I've been scared at that place.
So we finished what you're just about to finish is doing all 4, and we
Yeah.
went, oh well, where's the place where we haven't been yet? It's that place in the sky. Let's just go there. We were wandering around in the storm for 2 hours.
Right.
Literally pitch black. And we are like,
We're using the electric thing, which kind of gives you an outline of what's around
we're
you.
breaking the game so hard just to navigate the area.
I was like, just put the shrine seeker on. That's fine. Let's go towards the shrine. It's not. It's never
just-
meant to be that hard.
Yeah.
You're
If it feels like you're trying to really break through the game to be somewhere, especially just don't go to that island until it tells you to go to that
don't go
island.
there.
Just don't go there?
It's just like
you
a
you
nightmare.
go there later.
Yeah,
Right.
But you
Honestly,
don't need it.
yeah.
It's not hard.
it's fine.
It's not hard.
And also,
Right.
one piece of advice would be to do all the tiers. Do all the tiers.
Right.
Do all the
do all the
tiers. They're
tiers,
important.
then
Every time I see- every
then
time-
go find the Master Sword.
Okay,
I
got
did
it.
it in the wrong order.
That's
Got it,
only
because
advice.
every time I see one, I immediately go and do it.
good.
Yeah,
I
Find
do.
them
There's
all.
actually, what do you guys feel about the cutscenes being played in not a
weird
sequential order? Yeah.
I like it. Love
Is
it.
it okay? This is something I could have easily looked up, but is it it doesn't matter what order you find them in? It gives it to you in that random order, or is a
It's
tier?
based on location.
So that specific tier gives you that specific.
Yes,
Interesting.
which
because
means you can watch the final cutscene, which is what happened to me.
no, you haven't seen the final one.
No, you haven't seen-
Of course, but I'm saying it
You've seen
shows.
this second to last.
Yeah, I know.
Which one was that?
I saw the one where someone dies.
Okay, yeah, that's
No,
all right.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But-
You seriously find all of them, and then there's then
Got
you
it.
go find the Master Sword.
Are they all
Yes.
above ground?
yes,
Yes.
Okay,
and-
cool.
And so you find all of them, and then one more appears, and
Yeah.
you see that one,
Gotcha.
and then you'll find the Master
But
Sword.
but
And
answering your
it's-
question, I really do enjoy finding. It felt like a puzzle in itself.
You didn't feel because
Yeah.
I didn't mind it too much, but I felt when I was talking to people about it, some people felt cheated by the fact that the story was being told that way.
I honestly maybe just saw it in a really good order because I thought it was kind of fun. I was like, oh, maybe
Jessy
they're just
thought-
unlocking it.
Jesse thought that she was finding them. Didn't matter which ones were which.
Right. Okay.
And then I had to go in the menu and be like, no, look, this is actually the sequential order of
Yeah.
how it's.
Do you guys know
I
who-
knew it was
Do
different.
you guys know who voices
Who
Ganon?
voices Ganon?
Matthew Mercer.
Ah.
McCree.
Alex
from
Mercer.
Overwatch.
Alex Mercer.
Alex Mercer.
McCree. So is that
Yes,
the,
I
the
know.
gorilla?
It's the cowboy.
Oh, so sick.
Iconic.
Very cool.
Oh, that makes sense. And I love him with his long hair. He should keep that
Slutty
up.
Ganon.
Yeah.
So cool.
Zaddy. King.
Is that a good point to
wrap it up?
Wrap it
Is-
up?
where
Is there
are
anything else
you-
we missed?
Where are you going next in your journey?
Oh yeah, like what?
Death Mountain?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're a Death
I'm
Mountain.
there right now.
Epic.
It's really weird about the lava. I'm still throwing the weapons at the little things that suck it in and give me the.
Oh, yeah, I see.
We didn't even mess with that.
I didn't take advantage of anything.
Well, I was so
People-
stacked up, and it was so fine.
They do it in the
So
first game.
Basically, you can throw weapons at the little Octorock people, and when they're about to break, you can throw them at the octopus, and they'll spit them back out at you.
Come out
and
pristine.
then, they come out
But
pristine.
you're switching over weapons so often. It just
Yeah.
didn't even
Yeah.
matter to me. And I had so much things and things to mesh it with this time around. I just didn't even
But
worry
fair.
about it.
Respect.
But yeah,
for
respect the
playing
hustle.
the game as
Respect
meant to
the
be
hustle.
played.
Mind goblins.
Live it, love it, enjoy it. It's just such a fun game to just you have one thing you think you're gonna do, but then you just get lost in the sauce, and it's just so
Yeah.
much fun. Sorry I said that, but it is so true. It's just it's just such a lovable game and so awesome.
Think
just
it,
to-
dream it, do it.
Yeah. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
She said it, and it's that's it.
Let's
that's,
go.
That's exactly what.
Okay. Thanks so much for coming, Ryan.
Holy.
And that's all on camera. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks so much for
Love
coming, Ryan. We
you.
loved having
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Wait, drip check?
Yeah, I want a drip
Ryan?
check.
Do we need to stand
Noticing
up?
some
Yes.
Yeezys on the feet, so I would love to. Let's go. Ethan,
Oh my God.
drip check.
These are Yeezy 350s. These are the Yeezy socks.
Oh my God. How many euros?
Euros?
400 euros.
400
At
euros.
least 400.
Ching, ching pants.
I got these from Instagram.
Oh.
I don't know where, but
Hell
I
yeah.
just saw it and bought it. This is the Akira jacket.
King.
Yeah.
Neo Tokyo 2020.
Tokyo 2020. I've got the Yeezus Dissect podcast shirt.
Fuck yeah.
Got the Evangelion swag bag. Yeah.
And his name's Ryan Penny.
My name's Ryan.
Damn,
Cha-ching.
Ryan.
Let's go.
Oh my
Let's
God.
go.
My boy is dripped out.
Let's go.
Oh my God, you king. One
So glad we did
just
this.
so